Hello and welcome. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and today I want to make myself an artist's smock. Now, very simple. I want cuffs on it so I can clean my brushes without dirtying my clothes. I want it a little bit flary so it covers all of my tops, and I want a nice woolly collar on it because when I'm painting, some of the paints are very smelly, so I have to keep the door open or the window open. And of course I want the big pockets. So yes, I hope you can see that design. I'll bring it a bit closer because it's at an angle. So that's what we're going for. Now I have here on a piece of paper pretty much just copied round a t-shirt so I can get the top line of it. So now it's great this because I already know that my sleeves and everything are going to fit, so I can work around that. And then I'm going to line it up, that's on the fold, and then just draw this very simple shape. I think, yes. So, and I don't want it to be tight, I definitely need to be able to move my arms, and then it's going to flare out quite naturally. So that's that, and obviously the cuffs on the sleeves are going to be pretty much just rectangles, and I get to do my favourite thing, which is sewing buttons on. Well, I'm so not very good at it. And then the sleeves, because I draw around the green line, I can just draw around the green top here of the sleeve. So, and then I'm going to measure against my own arm to just double check the length. So very simple, and obviously the collar is going to be some sort of fleece lined, or, okay, honestly, I have not enough fleece, so I don't know what I'm going to line it with, but I want it to be something quite warm so that I can hide behind it. Now, I'm using quite a lightweight canvas or a heavyweight sheet. Might soak it in a mixture of bleach and fabric softener just to get it nice and soft after I've made it, but that's just me personally. Okay, so I'm not even going to bother cutting out the sleeves because of, sorry, the cuffs and the collar. I'm just going to use a length of fabric. Okay, so I've got cutting out to do, and I'll be back with you with a bit more of a clear picture of everything. Okay, so I'm back. I feel I jumped ahead rather. So I have my fleece lining for my collar, and my collar piece. I have my 2 pockets and my 2 cuffs, which are only squares, and my arm, and then my front and back of the tunic. Now I do need to adjust this slightly. I need both of the front and the back slightly bigger because I want it to be uber comfortable, and I need the front to come down just a little bit further. So let's get rid of the back and let's just trim that. Now it's quite important that this bit is flat because I want it quite smooth. So I'm going to, I could even use a ruler, just take 2 inches off, and then I'm cutting to join the previous point of the shoulders. Yeah, but I really want this bit to be flat, to be straight, because if there's a slight V in it, if you fold it like that and then do it, then you can get into a pickle. Now, what we can do is we can sew our bits together so they're all ready for sewing onto the main body, or we can sew the main body and then sew on our bits. So it's really preference. Instead of worrying about it, I always start from the bottom and work up, and then I always sorry, set on buttonhole. And then I do the bits and then do the body. So yeah, but today I'm not. I'm starting with the neck. So all I'm doing is I'm literally just joining these two pieces of fabric together, and then I'm going to turn them inside out. Now I chose to put the fleece on the top so it doesn't stretch from the feet of the sewing machine, and I put it on a very small stitch, which explains the noise. Now what I will do is I'll probably put a couple of fake buttons, but I won't actually put buttonholes in there. I just think it'll look tidier that way. And because I want it to look like canvas, what I'll do is the next time I stop, I'll run round and literally do a straight layer of stitches all around the edge. This is to give it the impression that it's quite thick canvas. I wouldn't want an artist smock that was thick canvas, but I want it to appear like it is. I want it to appear like a proper artist smock, actually. Okay, so the next job is to put the elastic on top of the pocket so that we've got that nice puffy pocket thing. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over again, and then I'm going to insert the elastic along the top. So I've got my elastic, I'm folding over once, folding over twice. I'm going to place it in the machine, and then I'm going to pull it taut. So I've got it all lined up, this bit's all ready to sew, and then I'm just going to take this elastic and pull it tight, and this will give me a nice puckered top, but I'll still be able to get stuff in. I think if you look at the sort of old-fashioned proper ones, then they just use binding or something. Now there's no right and wrong side to this fabric that I've noticed. Obviously at the moment I have got some natural light, and you know, that's how you normally tell. So depending on how neat I do this, whether I put the fold over side at the front or the fold over side at the back. Lovely, couple of reverse stitches. I want to keep it nice and firm, and then that's that done, and I'll do the other one in a second. Okay, now my cuffs. So I am actually going to use buttonholes and buttons, I know, just to go against tradition. Now these are just squares. They could be a bit more pointed, I suppose, but I think that'll be fine. It's just preference. What I mean by pointed is a bit more of an angle, so all I'm going to do is these will be on the inside, and I'm just hemming them like I would hem anything really. And then I'm leaving the needle down, folding it over, running along. And folding it over. And then leaving the needle down and then folding it over again. This is lovely fabric to work with, it really is. So I just wish I could describe it better. and then I'll do my buttonholes when I've got them all ready to go. So you see, it's going to be quite tight. I think I've not got very big wrists. And then, yeah, so it can come over a bit, and then when I'm painting I can clean my brushes on it. Okay, so let's get the main body together. Literally, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do a running stitch, and then I am going to do zigzag over the top. But rather than use the overlocker, I want these stitches to be quite close together. Sometimes with the overlocker, if you pull the fabric out, you can see the stitches. So I really don't need that. If I want to, I can then go over it with the overlocker. Okay, so this is the top of the shoulder, and literally just a very tight running stitch. So it's almost like a tabard, it's almost like a smock, I suppose. It's just such a simple design, and one I feel confident that anyone can do. And then I'm going to go down the sides. So yes, when I've sewn this, what I'll do is I'll have a little measuring session with myself, and I'll try it on, and then I can adjust it if I feel it's too baggy or anything. But I'm really more concerned about the colour being so bright and new. So yeah, it's that simple. Okay, well, I'm going to catch up on my sewing, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay. Hello there. So let's have an update. Okay, so I've done the other pocket, and what I've done is I've just done some zigzag stitch around the bottom here. This is because I think turning over curbs is the hardest thing. Now, the choices are we use the iron, or we even tack it, you know, that would work. I do find that if you just do this zigzag line, then it gives it a bit of structure, so you can turn it round, turn a hem really easily. I know, otherwise we've got to do a square pocket if it's too difficult to do this lovely curved pocket. So yeah, that's that done, and then we'll work through that. I've sewn my arms up, and I've hemmed my other cuff. Okay, so I suppose the next step here is to sort out the sleeves. And also I've sewn around the top of my collar so that I've got my top stitch. So that's all ready to be sewn on. Okay, tricky bit. Yeah. Not that tricky, but tricky enough. What we need to do is we need to reduce this in size to the size of the cuff. Okay? So, lots of ways to do it. We can gather it up now by just folding it over the needle, so we've got like a really nice long running stitch. I'll stand up and do it so you can see what I'm doing. And a nice contrasting coloured fabric, so we can see this and take it out. Yeah? Or, if I pull that out, then I can come back to that and do the next bit. We need this to be up here. We need it inside, we need it so it's the right side, so both right sides are together. And we need to sew it so that it joins in the middle at this point. So what I'm going to do is I folded it in half and placed it against the seam, so you can see that there, and I'm going to put a pin in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this on the foot, no gathering tool or anything, and I'm just literally going to pucker the material. Good idea to stick a pin in it first of all, so that we can get it to the right bit. So I'm going to pull the start of the cuff over to the fold in the sleeve, which is the top line of the sleeve. Now we're expecting a thunderstorm here. It's really horrid, it's really humid, so I've got the window open and I hope that's not too loud for you. I'm going to go back to my stitching. Literally, I'm going to force excess cloth under there. I'm going to keep an eye on it that my puckers aren't too big. And yeah, so that it's done. And then what I want is it to get rid of all this excess material by the time I get to my pin. And then I'm going to turn it round and do the other side. So, yes, I can get rid of a pin, honestly. But it's a good idea to have some form of mark so you know where to sew to. If you're happier doing it with a tack stitch, then do it with a tack stitch. It really is that easy, you know, that simple really. You've just got to reduce the amount of fabric and turn it round. So I am pulling the sleeve round now, and still just literally I'm pushing excess fabric in and unthreading my needle. Oh, that's such a shame. Hello there. Well, I'm not sure when I left you last night. I think I was threading the needle. It just got so hot in here I couldn't concentrate. And something we all suffer with, I suppose. But yes, it did thunder last night, so let's see what we can do. Now I know we've got the sleeves to put in and the pockets to put on and the collar to put on. So yes. Now I think we left the cuffs half sewn, so let's just pick up where we left off. Now I need the smaller one to be down, so the smaller side, which will be the cuffs in this case, and then I just push it all through. And literally I am just probably grabbing an inch of the cloth and then pushing it up to a centimetre. What I've got to watch for is that I don't pull it up or down while I'm doing this, so that it just doesn't sit on. But in the long run it is a lot quicker. Yes, a couple of practice pieces and you'll be well away. Now the sleeves are also slightly bigger, so we have to do the same again in getting the sleeves onto the tunic. Okay, and what I'm doing now is I'm just taking the last piece of the cuff, so there's a tiny bit of an overlap, and there we are, all sewn up, making sure I don't sew the bottom up as well. So let's just have a closer look. So there we are, one sleeve with an extraordinary long cuff, and I get to do loads of buttonholes. Now I did the zigzag round here, and it just makes it lie a lot easier, so that's what else I've done. I need now to put the sleeve in the garment. Now the way to do it is I have to turn the sleeve inside out so that both right sides are facing. Now, you know, this is where I have trouble. I can never work it out. So, yes. Now I'm going to line up the bottom of the sleeve. I'm going to take the fabric along here, and I've taken it up about 3 inches, and I'm just going to snip a pin in there. I'm also going to snip a pin in the bottom, and there we are. So I'm going to start sewing 3/4 of the way round, and I need a way to mark the top, and a pin is as good as any. Everything's on the floor again, so that's great. I'm going to place it under the machine, and I know to gather the top of the sleeve to the seam so that the pin meets, because I have all this extra fabric. I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to pick up 1 inch of fabric, and I'm going to push it up to the needle and leave about 1 centimetre. So if we were just in inches, I would reduce the fabric by probably about half this way. And then when I can come to the pin, I can take the pin out, and away I go again. And then I need the 2 pieces to join up, so to the next pin, and I need to get rid of all this fabric again, watching that I don't pull it down so that it leaves holes. Now the other way to do it is to insert a tacking stitch just on the top and then adjust it that way. Okay, now I've got rid of all my gathers, I can literally just sew to the seams, both the underarm seams together. I need these to match up because otherwise it will look terrible, and then I can carry on sewing round till where I started. Lovely, and a couple of reverse stitches just to keep it all in place. So, now I'm going to come to the top. Now I want the collar to open 3/4 of the way round. This is so literally I can hide behind it if I'm doing something smelly, and then I'm going to put fake buttons on. I don't want it buttoned up. Don't need it buttoned up, but I do need the collar just in case. Yeah, oil paint smell, I'm sorry, you know, you can disagree with me if you like, but yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that like the smell. So, I want to probably turn this the right way round. So that's what the gathers look like. I hope you can see that okay. I just find them easier, more of a tuck than a gather. And I am going to choose where I want to start with this. So I've taken out, this is the shoulder seam, and this is the front of the neck. I am peeling it, as it were, so I'm only going to sew the 2 blue bits. And then I'm going to place it under the sewing machine and then just literally follow it round. I've got the collar, which is flat at the bottom, and the top is the garment. So it's easier to keep something flat on the bottom than it is flat on the top. So I can just literally feed this all round. Now I'll just pull my bobbin thread out from under the foot so it doesn't look so joined up. And I've put the garment on the table rather than on my lap so that it doesn't pull. Okay, so I'm just coming round to the next seam. There's nothing I really need to worry about there. And then I am just easing the garment round while following the flat of the collar. So, there we go. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of material here, so I do have to keep an eye on it, but that's not a problem. And I'm coming up to where I started, so I need to just keep sewing. And I've joined those 2 stitches up. So if I can get rid of all the excess thread here, I've got myself in a right pickle. I'll take it with my foot. And now I'm going to sew the lining, the white fleece, and fold it over. So this is what we're left with, and all I'm going to do is just tuck that in and then fold and sew along the same line as seams. So that's all great. And then when I come to the end, the excess is I'm just going to sew the sleeve, the lining and the collar together so that it flops over. So let's get this started. Just allowing the machine to take it, making sure I don't stretch the fleece and making sure everything's flat underneath the foot. I don't want anything caught up at all. So I'm just coming to the last seam of the shoulder now. Now what I need to do is just sew that together, so that's grand. So that's all tucked in neatly. Away I go. Okay. So, oh, I've got to do the bottom as well, which is just a simple fold over and running stitch. Okay, but I don't think I need to show you that. I think you can trust me. Oh, I'll just put that there. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to line these pockets up. Now, it's tricky, it really is. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to line them up from the bottom, because I know the bottom's straight. Now, there's a lot to be said for having these at a little angle, but it really depends what you're happy with, and it depends really what side you want, because I was originally going to have it this side out. I think one of them's quite neat and the other one's a bit scruffy, so I might put them that side round. Okay, yes, I am going to suggest pins for this. I know I don't normally like to use pins, but I think that to get them right, I've got to give myself a fighting chance. So what I'll do is I'll just get one sewn on for you, and then sew the other one on, and then I can get all my buttons sewn, and then we'll have a big reveal. But you can see just that a tiny amount of zigzag stitches is really helpful. Now these pins, as far as I'm concerned, are more of a guide, and then I'll sew in the curb. The curb will sew in quite naturally. So, but it really depends. If it's too difficult, then go with nice corners. And I think we can probably get away with a little pucker there, or a little pleat, just to keep them nice and level. So that's that. Because we did cut them at an angle, but maybe I should have cut them a bit more. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to match them up now though, even though I might sew it off screen, because it really is important to have them the same. It will forever ruin the garment. In fact, there's a lot to be said for even doing just a strip and maybe a couple of lines down it, so we've got a nice pocket. Okay, so I'm only going to put 2 pins in this one. It's just literally making life so much easier for myself in the long run. Okay, garment's taking shape, isn't it? Let's get this back. Now, I think the best thing to do is get this as flat as possible before we start. I'm going to make sure that that's all tucked in and that nothing's pulling on it. So, I'm 100% confident, because otherwise I'm just going to unpick it. So, let's give it a go, hey. Now this is the first one I've actually made of this. I regard it as quite a simple sew. How thoughtful of myself. I unplugged it. Now you may want to know why I'm using a slightly lighter coloured cotton. That's because if I do bleach this, dye this, the cotton's not going to dye. So I didn't want it to look as if I'd dyed it. But it just depends. It really, well actually, it depends how it washes. If when I wash it, just on a cold wash, and it comes up in a giant ball of creases and everything, then I probably will bleach it just to make it easier to wear, so that I can literally, because it's an overall, isn't it? And although I'm sure there are people out there in the world that wash and iron overalls, and a lot of professions you would need to, I don't. I don't plan to actually iron this. I plan to just wear it. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? But we will see. We will see how it washes. Okay, so I'm just taking out my pins as I go. And I have bobbin thread caught up again, which doesn't inspire confidence to the viewers. Lovely. That's me done. One pocket done. Now, I know I've got hand sewing of buttons to do and everything, but we can see where we are, and then I can come back to you. So that's my pocket sewn on. I've double checked, triple checked before I sew on the other pocket that they're level and aligned. And there's my collar, and there's my fluffy sleeves, and my huge cuffs. I'm going for a traditional artist smock. So I will be back with you in probably half an hour. So hello there, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and I have now finished my artist smock. Okay, so I hope you like it. I've got my cuffs done, which are extra wide so that I can fold them over and then hide my my paint marks. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and subscribe. Please like, share and subscribe.